Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday tips. It's exactly 1 o'clock on the dot. And I do see some people checking in here. So I'm gonna give us a few minutes. We're gonna keep catching up. I had to tell everyone to stop talking about coffee right as I pressed play. So we're probably gonna keep talking about coffee for a little bit over here, and we'll probably get started at a little bit 5 minutes after the hour is normally when we start, when I see our queue starting to slow down a little bit. Oops, I'm moving around too much already on the screen.
Too much coffee.
If anyone can just shoot me a message in the questions box, let me know that you guys can hear us. You can see all four of us accurately and that you're seeing my presentation for Tuesday tips. I like the good feedback. Make sure I'm ready to go. You see everything good, Jean? Okay, cool. All right, what's for lunch today? I'm kind of hungry, guys.
I just finished my breakfast.
Dude, it's 1 p.m.
Wife made me like a big breakfast sandwich. I literally just finished it.
That sounds so good.
Can't get my Uber bagels.
Uber bagel withdrawal for you?
Oh my God, dude. I miss that place.
I feel like I've seen so many people making bagels because it is.
Oh.
Quarantine has brought out the baker in a lot of people in the world.
Oh my good. That looks like it might be hard.
I know. I feel like you could do it though. You're a baker.
Yeah, I think there's some silver linings out there for sure. I think that, professionally and personally, there's things that just have to shift and probably won't go back,
Yeah.
whether it's bagel making or how we buy homes or whatever it looks like. Yeah. I only said that because I think we're still live, right? I wanted to sound smart in our pre-meeting banter even here. Yeah.
Whoever's listening in, that just want everybody to, this dog is alive. He is real.
Yeah, like the SPCA headed to your house right now as we speak. Yeah.
What is your dog's name again, Jean?
ID. Oh, it's Adidas, really. Adidas is his full name.
That's right. You told me that and told Brock that last week. All right, we'll give everything like 1 more minute, and just give a couple more, or the opportunity for a few more people to join. I want to remind everyone who's listening right now too, if you have any questions for the staff as we go, whether it's for Jason or it's for Pam or myself, anyone, you can send your questions through as you're listening, and then we will have a Q&A at the end. But we definitely want this to be interactive, so please give us your questions for Jason. Let's put him on the spot, see what answers he's got to your questions.
Stretch out a little bit. Get ready here. I'm ready.
Yeah, get ready. Fair warning.
Jeopardy.
Yeah. It's my favorite kind. I'm in.
Let's go ahead and get started. I know it's 1:04, I said 1:05, but we'll just jump right in. Pam, I'll let you do your thing.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. I am super excited. I'm really enjoying these Tuesday tips, and I hope everybody's getting, some value out of this. So this series we're starting out today is our home buying series, which is one of my favorite. And today I am glad to have Jason Lerner with us, the area manager for George Mason Mortgage. He's helped over 5,000 families with their mortgage needs. So we're super excited to hear some insight on what's going on in the industry. So just like as Laura had mentioned, the format is obviously very relaxed. Everybody just, chime in with whatever questions you have. We have no specific structure. We just want to, answer any questions that you might have. So our agenda today is, as I mentioned, again, we have Jason with us, going over some mortgage information, buying a home in today's climate. Things are changing. So He's going to fill us in on what that looks like and building your home buying team and what mortgage lenders are doing to make the process easier during these times. So it's a lot of really great information for any home buyers out there. If we have any agents that are also joining us, you know, a great time to ask Jason any questions on what's going on, how are the rates, you know, all of these important questions for all of us. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcoming Jason. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and joining us today. How are you doing?
Good, good. I've been looking forward to this all day. So good to hang out with you guys as always. In fact, I think of those 5,000 or maybe even 6,000 folks I've helped, I don't know, what, like 3,000 are CR folks? I don't know. It feels like a lot of collaboration we do together for sure. So
yes, we appreciate
yeah, thanks for letting me tag along with you guys here. Actually, Gene, I think personally has done maybe 1,000 of those himself. I don't know. So. But yeah, so it's obviously exciting times. You know, things have happened in the world that have created a lot of uncertainty, and sometimes uncertainty in general makes us all uneasy. But when it comes to things like interest rates and maybe even creating kind of that perfect storm of looking to buy a home, those things are cooperating right now, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But first, before even going into the presentation, just really want to stress that because of some of the things that are happening, it becomes more important than ever to really make sure that you're hanging around with real professionals, people who care about you, who are knowledgeable, whether that's your doctor, whether that's your realtor, whether that's your lender. More than ever, it's this perfect storm of really positive things that can help someone buy a home and be really comfortable and create some long-term wealth. But really the asterisk next to that is having someone who understands the climate that we're in and some of the things that are happening today. So yeah, just want to make sure everyone really does their research and reach out to someone who not only knows what they're doing, but has a proven track record, but really cares about and understands their needs for sure. So yeah, I'll go through the presentation here. So the first thing to talk about is, you know, in general, you know, so even though the climate's different, not much has changed. You know, things that a month or two ago were still important about buying a home, you know, those things are still true today. You know, so why own a home? And part of my job as a lender is to really understand the financing behind it. So there's lots of reasons. For me, the one that is black and white and seems the most important, to me at least, is that owning a home, maybe even more than ever, really provides some long-term investment opportunities, really gives you the opportunity to build and accumulate wealth. You can see by looking, 2 weeks ago, I had lots of hair, right? Full head hair of newscaster hair, beautiful, but these last 3 weeks have had its toll on me. You know, part of that is watching the markets, and the markets have been, you know, crazy. Lots of changes. There was a week, 3 weeks ago, where on a Monday, the interest rate was very close to 3. By Thursday night, the rate had gone up to 4.75%. So just things I'd never seen before. But when the world around you is changing and becoming uncertain, one thing that's proven over time to be that safe and stable thing is an investment in real estate and gaining equity and appreciation in the home. So again, more than ever, it's been true, but probably today more than ever, that buying a home can absolutely provide wealth for your family. So other things to think about, there's social benefits too, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are figuring that out as you may be stuck in a home that may not meet all of your social and physical needs, whether you're cramped in with people you love being with or not. So again, owning a home, and maybe a big home, especially today, you know, definitely gives you some stability. There's a lot to be said as far as being part of a neighborhood. You know, if these are the people we're staring at for the next couple months, at least it's people who we enjoy being around, and you can control a lot of that. Also too, and given the instability around us, there's lots of studies that show that homes provide economic stability, social and stability, and really, especially people raising families can check a lot of those boxes too. So lots of good reasons to buy a home in any situation, but I think more than ever, some of those things become, you know, really hammered home. And then, you know, finally, you have the freedom, no landlord to answer to, often no people stomping around upstairs. You know, you can paint the walls because you're staring at them right now. Just a real good positive things that come with home ownership in general. But we'll talk about some of the black and white financial things that kind of make it even more true today. So yeah, if we can go on to the next slide even here too. So specifically, why to own a home in today's market. So number one thing to be conscious of, and Pam had brought it up before about interest rates. So this week I've locked people in at high 2s even. So there's really, you know, it's an exciting time, to take advantage of some of these things that are happening in the marketplace. You know, often when things like your 401k or your investments are negatively impacted, interest rates are positive. And to me, that's the silver lining of an otherwise series of events that have become kind of a really difficult situation for a lot of people, that if you're able to use this as probably a very small window of opportunity to establish financial wealth, I think it's the go-to time. So again, rates really close to 3%. And I'm doing numbers for people all the time, and very consistently, people who are paying rent right now are paying more for rent for a much smaller home than they would be for a home that they can buy and call their own and treat as an investment. And their monthly investment's much lower than rent is. And that's going towards paying off things like equity and improving your financial position. There's the tax benefit where, again, for rent, you're literally paying mortgage for somebody else. So now more than ever with interest rates, you know, to talk specifically what a 3% interest rate means, you know, this time a year ago, we were locking people in mid fours. You know, the biggest difference between a 4% something and a 3% interest rate, not just is it the overall lower payment, those things are amazing. But if you look at an amortization table, I'm refinancing somebody right now who's going from 3.875 to 3.25. So just that small change, and they're saving $115,000 over the life of their loan. So can you imagine purchasing a home a year ago at 4.5% and being able to lock in today at 3.25? Just to do that math of interest payments avoided is amazing. So you can choose to buy maybe the same size home you were looking at, you know, 6 months ago or even a month ago, and have a payment that's maybe a couple $100 lower. Or you could probably buy a home that's going to be $20,000 to $30,000 more at approximately the same payment. So it's a pretty impactful thing what's happening today with interest rates. So make sure you're hanging out with a educated realtor, an educated lender, and just see those numbers. You know, you wake up every day and you see that interest rates are lower. That's powerful. But to me, it's a whole nother thing to actually have a lender illustrate to you what those differences look like and how much more you can afford today. So also too, so I've got 3 people that went under contract today for homes. So, you know, you would think that with some of the changes in the environment, whether it's because people are anxious about what's happening or don't want to touch something that can, you know, at least, you know, the fear of touching something and spreading this disease, it's still happening. You know, people are absolutely buying homes today. And these are people who maybe saw the home once, I know one of the contracts I had presented to me today was someone who fell in love with the home online and never actually went to go see the home. So people are falling in love with spouses all the time online, right? Why can't you fall in love with a home and make those things work today too? So just, again, there's a lot of positive things that might outweigh some of the uncertainty. So specifically, even with those homes that people have bought today, I had other people who put offers in and didn't get it because they were being outbid. So this time a couple of weeks ago, and Pam, you can comment, I mean, it probably was one of the most difficult times for a buyer where inventory was low and the demand was so high that people were getting their hearts broken every time they put an offer and they weren't able to achieve, you know, get any benefit.
Exactly, yeah.
So one thing that is happening is that there's still this high demand, but it's a little bit less. So it kind of gives you an opportunity to have this little drop in the action, you know, a little chance to kind of catch your breath a little bit. And that same home that you may have had to overbid and been uncomfortable putting a bid in for, you know, a month ago, that's a similar home that you might be able to get. And there may be another person shopping for it, but it's not going to be the 4 or 5 people that there were, you know, that the market naturally would have if not for the climate that we're in that's caused by COVID right now. So again, home prices have been steadily appreciating, but right now there's an opportunity for someone to take advantage of a very low interest rate and kind of get in as homes are at least stable and not continuing to go up. I'm still seeing homes appreciate. You know, home values are still going up, but not at that kind of hard-hitting, sharp increase that we were experiencing leading up today. And then I was actually on a conference call earlier today with someone who was really smart and who's projecting that this is going to be relatively short-lived and there's going to be a sharp increase in home prices, you know, once we get past this as a society, once we're able to, the dust settles and you know, the economy rebounds and people are actively shopping for homes again, there's going to be this great big pent-up demand. And I anticipate that home prices are going to be increasing and competition is going to be even sharper than what it was before all this happened. So now really is that perfect opportunity for someone who's interested in buying a home and capturing that low interest rate. It feels like the perfect opportunity for sure.
Question from the audience, so I think I'll just throw it in right now because it's about this. What's the best way to compare rates is this question.
Yeah, so I think that, again, I think it goes back to dealing with professional folks. So, call a couple people that you get recommended to, trust a realtor or someone else has a really positive experience, and maybe make it 2 or 3 people that you talk to, but call that person specifically, and they should be able to give you a good idea of what a really close to precise estimated interest rate would be for someone's scenario without necessarily having to make application. And based on what that feedback you get for interest rates is how I'd make a decision. There's other important things too, whether, someone who can get you to settlement, and talk about things like closing fees too. Sometimes people advertise an interest rate that sounds lower only to discover that there's points attached to it or other things that make it where overall it doesn't get you into a better financial position. But I think definitely to actually have human interaction and conversations with some really trusted lenders will help you make a good decision about interest rates. There are websites that go into detail, but the websites I see often have points that aren't disclosed, or sometimes the lender can even be more conservative on the website and advertise a rate that's really not as low as they're able to get. So I would definitely count on, have a lender provide you with estimates to make a good educated decision.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep, definitely. So again, I think that this really is kind of that perfect storm of rolling up your sleeves and kind of making it all work right now. I think that there's going to come a time really soon where rates may be higher. And I think people talk all the time about how to time the bottom of the market. They're concerned about buying a home today that's on the market for 300, and they think if I hold on tight and not put in an offer, it's going to go down to 290, right? Maybe there's not going to be this activity and I can get a steal for a below market purchase price. The part that I've seen happen over and over again, and it breaks my heart to see, is that sometimes people hold out for this price to go down, and then congratulations, you saved $5,000 because you got it for a little bit cheaper than you could have, but the interest rate went up 0.5 percentage point, and you cost your family $40,000 over the life of the loan to save that $5,000. When in real life, a loan amount that's $10,000 higher is going to cost you $50 a month at most, $45 a month. Same thing, I see people walk away from what feels like the perfect home over a couple $1,000s, when in reality their payment would have been $8 more or so a month, $9 more a month. And by the time they find that right home, the home prices have shifted up, especially as we're anticipating demand sharply increasing, and interest rates have gone up, and they ended up, unfortunately, over a couple $1,000s hurting themselves in the long term. So with all that in mind, that's kind of the financial aspects of why now is a good time to buy. As an industry, there's also lots of efficiencies that are coming about that we're doing to really help you stay safe as you're looking through homes, making offers, getting appraisals done. So as an industry, we've changed a lot of the way we do business. So for being an industry that still does things the old-fashioned way, in a really short period of time, we've embraced lots of technology. So my company's always been a technology-based company where we have apps where people can make application online. In fact, often, as much as I love sitting down with people and talking through it, and part of the way I do business is to do it as face-to-face and making sure that all the numbers make sense and feel comfortable. There's many times in my life where I'll go to settlement, and that's the first time I meet someone in person is at the settlement. And now that settlements are being done a little bit differently, I don't even get that. I don't get to bring donuts or a cake or anything to settlement. There's a hole in my heart right now as all this is happening. But again, the things that
on the phone.
Yeah, perfect. So there's the app that Pam would send you where you can go online and fill everything out.
And this is kind of just to show something also to any of the fellow agents that are on there, how super easy it is. You just go ahead, click right there, and you share this, and it's giving out, Jason's information, and your information is also in there, and you can also follow the whole process. So I think that makes it really, interesting, especially in today's society that we're not able to, meet people face to face.
Yeah, it's weird because I missed that in my life. Part of what keeps me going is feeling like I'm helping people achieve, either by refinancing and getting, more financial stability and accumulating wealth, or buying a home that's going to really, for generations, potentially impact a family's financial well-being. So I like to high five it and hug it out at the end. So it kind of makes me sad that I haven't had that in my life. But to that point, the things that we're doing to make it easy. So even appraisals right now, for many homes, we're not even requiring an appraisal. We're doing kind of an internal review of the stability of a neighborhood, understanding the borrower's qualifications, and sometimes we don't even require an appraisal period, even for a purchase transaction. Sometimes when an appraisal is needed, in general, we're only requiring that an external one be done. So again, that's just another layer of removing some human interaction where safety concerns are being made paramount. And then I've heard lots of stories, and Pam, you may have some stories about it too, but where at settlement, one family's in one car, another family's in the other car, gas masks involved, and again, great lengths to make sure that people are happily ever after, for sure.
Yeah, I've had Zoom calls, FaceTime.
Yeah. I shouldn't say this, but actually with that in mind, now not only is now a perfect time to buy a home, it may also be the perfect time to conduct mortgage fraud. I don't want to get into it at all, but without all the human interaction, maybe there's some crazy things that could happen too. So, but no, I mean, again, if you're hanging out with the right folks, with the people who care about you and understand not only markets in general, this is a unique market. Now more than ever, real-time information has to be understood by your realtor and lender, trying to capture interest rates at the right time and finding the right home for you, understanding what competition looks like. It's so important, I think, to hang out with the right folks. So, we talk about interest rates, and I think those things are probably the number one thing you should use to determine who you're going to choose to do your lending. But I also think there's a lot to be said about making sure that that person cares about you. And a low interest rate attached to the wrong programs, not going to put you in the right financial position. So interest rate should be probably weighed maybe the heaviest, but also make sure that the person you hang out with has experience and knows what they're doing and cares about you. And to that point with the realtors, I'm lucky to work with lots of realtors, but it's so hard. In my experience, it's hard to find someone who knows what they're doing and cares about their clients. There's lots of folks who know a lot about what they're doing and don't care about their clients at all. I see that unfortunately a lot. Maybe even more often, I find people who really care but don't know what the heck they're doing. So it's really great to hang out with folks like CR and Pam and Jean specifically, who really care about their clients, know what they're doing, and not only have the personal knowledge, but are backed by this wonderful team that can kind of roll up their sleeves and make sure that everything feels the way it's supposed to. But just like stock market changing every day, we're seeing some of that with program changes and interest rates, where it becomes critical to hang out with the right folks to kind of make everything work.
Thank you so much, Susan. I think, Laura, do you have a question?
No, I'm
Yeah.
good now. I do have something from one of our agents, so that says that it's Josh, and he says that he misses your donut.
That kind of hurts my feelings. So I miss Josh as a person, but whatever. I mean, donuts, I'll take it. Although he is so dreamy, I understand actually, so I get it for sure. So.
Ooh.
But no, I mean, again, this is kind of like if you're out there and considering, different options for buying a home, it's so important that when the lender and the realtor have a relationship, like I don't sleep at night if there's something that doesn't feel perfect with the transaction in general, but especially for people who I care about and I see every day or are part of their weekly meetings like I am with these guys, there's so much pressure on me to make sure things go perfectly. And I think that's when a realtor recommends that you hang out with a lender. It's because it's for a reason. It's because that they know there's going to be communication, that they know that there's this extra incentive for that lender to make sure that the realtor is well taken care of. And same thing for me, in general, I give the lowest rate I'm allowed to without getting fired. And as an executive, I can get away with a little bit more. I can go a little bit deeper without getting fired. It's a little harder to fire me. But especially when I know it's one of a client that matters to me, I'm gonna do everything I can to ensure that they're in the best possible financial position they can be in, for sure.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on here. So if anyone, we'll be sending out the information for everybody after the webinar ends, but here is information on how to reach both Pam and Jason. And like I said, if anyone needs this afterward, I can get that over to you. And then we'll open it up for Q&A.
And Laura,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, just one more point, because things are changing so much right now. So I've been doing this for 17 years. I was part of this when things were crazy, 2008, 2009. And it's a whole different kind of crazy that we went through then, one that was brought on by the housing market and really impacted how we do business. But there's been more change to programs in the last 3 weeks than there were probably in the 2 years of that first, 2008, 2009 time. But when a lender tells you that there's a program that's no longer available, that just means that they may not be offering that program. So make sure that you talk to your realtor and maybe talk to another lender. For example, I know people right now, a lot of lenders don't offer some of the first-time homebuyer down payment assistance programs that were once offered. For example, we still do. But I think that message is coming out that different programs have gone away, and they have gone away for some lenders, and some programs have gone away for everybody. But in general, make sure that you're educated and that you hang out with the right folks, and they'll make sure that you're making the right decisions for sure.
I have a question, Jason, because I keep seeing, I'm like, I don't know, is it rumors? Is it not rumors? Everybody keeps saying something different. Credit scores. I see some people saying, oh, you need I don't know, 700, 800. And so what's going on with their credit scores?
Yeah, so that's not an industry-wide thing. There's still some lenders that go very low. In general, though, what's happened is that there's so much concern about about changes in people's lives. People are being impacted economically. They're losing jobs. They're being furloughed. A lender's really negatively impacted if a loan doesn't perform in the first 6 months, especially. So right now, lenders are making decisions to be very cautious about qualifying for loans, and the requirements across the board have gotten much more difficult for sure. But there's still some lenders that still go low for credit scores. We were 580. And then we went from 580, and for us, we're 640 now is the minimum credit score that I can lend on. There's still some people that are able to go a little bit lower than us, but if they are, it's usually at an expense. The rate's going to be unattractive, or there's some extra additional guidelines that you might have to go through. So, I mean, the credit score thing is real for sure. Other things have been impacted so the other extreme of jumbo loans. So same thing, if one of those loans don't perform, that can negatively impact a lender. And it doesn't even have as much to do with the lender. A lot of times it has more to do with these investors and what their appetite is for different loans. And then unfortunately, the bigger loans have been impacted, where in general, the requirement is for a down payment is much larger than it was, even 3 weeks ago for sure. So those are probably two of the biggest, hardest hit segments where it may become a little bit more difficult for those people to secure financing. But even for me, if someone's buying a $900,000 home, we'll do a first loan that's smaller and do a second loan that gets them up to 95% still. So there's still lots of ways to kind of accomplish it. Just have to be creative and hang out with a guy or woman who knows what they're doing for sure.
Thank you. Okay, so we do have a question here that says, are there any grants or down payment assistance programs that are available right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So a program that I'm talking about with people all the time is the Maryland Mortgage Program, which is still one of the best programs around. So it'll allow a home buyer to get up to 3% of the purchase price. So for example, if someone's buying a $300,000 home, they're going to get $9,000 towards their down payment. And most programs a lot of programs can allow for a 3% or a 3.5% down payment. So between the down payment assistance program that we offer, the grant that we offer, and combining that with the traditional program, they're going to get very close to 100% financing. And there's still 100% financing programs out there. Veterans can get 100% financing. People participating in USDA loans. So if they're buying in a less populated area, that's still 100% financing that's available. So there's tons of programs. It's just a matter of working with someone who understands your needs and trusting them to find the program that best fits you.
Awesome, thank you. And then we did have one other question that asked have you noticed if closing timelines have changed?
So in general, no. In fact, if anything, some of the things that have been benefited from this is some of the efficiencies. Again, in some of the appraisal process feels a little bit easier. Title companies right now are lenders and title companies in general are kind of fighting through some of these additional regulations. So there's a little bit less efficiencies, but no, in general, we haven't been impacted at all. In fact, we've still been exceptionally efficient. We've been closing early often to make sure that we're prepared for, the sooner that someone can close and get in their home, the more comfortable they are with the other things that are happening around us in the world. The asterisk to that, though, is that there's some kinds of loans that involve third parties. For example, some of the down payment assistance programs sometimes need more than the traditional amount of time of 20-something days or 30 days. But in general, we're still closing down payment assistance programs within 30 days most of the time. Sometimes, again, if a third party gets involved and they're impacted by COVID, then there may be, but that hasn't happened. I'm kind of talking more in general. That hasn't impacted us at all yet. But those are the things that I'm anxious about, but luckily it hasn't impacted us at all.
Yeah. Okay, great, thank you. And then this is kind of a follow-up question to the last one that you answered. What are the requirements for the Maryland mortgage program that you mentioned?
Yeah, so in general, their minimum credit score is 640, and they have there's several programs that kind of fall within the Maryland mortgage program, but the big picture stuff is a 640 minimum credit score, and also too that there's a maximum income amount too. So definitely check with your mortgage person and make sure that you fit. But in general, it's a program that I'd say most of the population or a good portion of the population is going to be eligible for, and you don't even have to be a first-time home buyer. You can be a repeat home buyer and still be eligible for it. You can't own a home at the same time, but as long as at the time of settlement you're not owner of a property, you can still move forward with the Maryland mortgage program.
That's good to know.
Cool.
Awesome, thank you. So it looks like that was our last question. Unless anyone else who's listening has something, you can go ahead and toss it into the questions bubble right now as we finish out. Pam, I'm gonna give it back to you.
I definitely want to thank Jason, and as he mentioned,
You did a great job, Jason.
Yes, it's super important to have that right team, like he said, and I think all of us agents have had that, you know, where we kind of hit a bump on the road, and if you have the lender relationship with the lender, it makes everything go so much smoother. So I definitely 100% agree with that. And, you know, especially in this time with COVID-19, things are going virtually. We really don't know, you know, how everything is going, and people have extra questions. So just knowing that you do have that right team together is super important. You know, we at CR Maryland are doing everything that we can. Also, we've gone virtual. So, you know, a huge shout out to the entire team. Everybody's doing an amazing job with that. So, you know, definitely reach out to us if you have any questions, you know, with any real estate needs or any agents or anything that have any questions, you know, about how we're doing stuff. We always are open to, like, you know, sharing any ideas. So our second part, so next week we're going to be having the second part of our home buying series, and that's going to be with Patrick and Tim from Universal Title Company. They're going to be going over, you know, what it looks like today to do a closing. Like Jason had mentioned, it's not the same thing. It's not, you know, we're all not sitting there in the room and hugging and everything. So the whole
process. I miss those hugs, Pam. I really do. Yeah.
I'm like, when this is all over, everybody's going to be like so tired of me. But, you know, even with all of this going on, settlements are still happening. So it's just about being informed and communication. Communication is so important, and just letting everybody know this is how it's going to happen so that they know and are okay with it. So that if they have any questions, you know, they already know beforehand. So that's why I think, you know, I always love doing these home buying seminars, but I think it's even more important right now so that people are educated beforehand and they know what it's going to look like. So thank you so much for participating. Thanks everybody that joined us, and we will see you next week for part 2, same time, same place.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Grateful.
Thank you. Stay safe.